Right now, there's money within reach of you. A coin in a drawer, a bill folded in a pocket, a number glowing on a screen in your banking app. And you probably think you have a rough idea of how much money there is in the world. You don't, not even close. Because most of the money on earth can't be held in your hand, isn't sitting in any vault, and, if all of us asked for it at the exact same moment, couldn't physically exist at all. So let's try something simple. Let's stack every dollar in the world, one bill flat on top of the next, and watch how high the pile climbs. Start with the part you can actually touch. Every coin in every pocket, every note in every wallet, every cash register, every bank drawer on the planet. All of it together, the physical money of the entire human race, adds up to somewhere around $8 to $9 trillion. That's the estimate from the Bank for International Settlements. To put that in perspective, the United States alone accounts for about 2.3 trillion of it, according to the Federal Reserve, and more than 80% of that is sitting in $100 bills. Bills you almost never actually see. 8 trillion. It sounds enormous. It's supposed to. But hold on to that number because in about a minute, it's going to look almost laughably small. First, we have to make a trillion mean something, because nobody can actually feel a number that big. We say million, billion, trillion like their neighbors. They are not. Take a single stack of $100 bills, the biggest note most people ever see. $1 million in hundreds is not a room full of cash. Stacked flat, one bill on top of another, it's a column about as tall as your chest. That's it. And bundled into bricks, that same million weighs only about 10 kilograms. A single block you could tuck under one arm. Now jump to a billion. $1 billion in those same $100 bills, stacked flat, is a column over a kilometer tall. Taller than the tallest building ever made, the Burj Khalifa at 828 meters. And a trillion? $1 trillion stacked flat would climb about 1,090 kilometers straight up. Past the clouds, past the weather. More than twice as high as the space station orbiting 400 kilometers over your head. And it wouldn't just be tall. $1 trillion in bills would weigh about 10,000 tons, as much as the entire Eiffel Tower. From a brick you could carry under one arm to a tower of paper as heavy as a landmark punching out of the sky. That is the leap from a million to $1 trillion. Here's the cleanest way to feel that gap. 1 million seconds is about 11 days. 1 billion seconds is 32 years. And 1 trillion seconds is more than 30,000 years. Older than the cave paintings. Same 3 little words. 3 completely different worlds. We just can't feel the difference. And that one blind spot is about to make everything that follows almost impossible to believe. So go back to that physical cash. $8 trillion. 80 billion bills. Stack them flat, and the pile would tower roughly 8,700 kilometers high. Thousands of kilometers past the edge of space. The small number was never small. You just had no way to picture it. But here is where it gets strange. Because that mountain of cash, every banknote and coin that exists, is barely a rounding error next to how much money's actually out there. Add in the money sitting in bank accounts, your savings. Everyone's savings. Every checking account, every deposit, every digital balance the world quietly runs on. Now the total isn't 8 trillion. It's somewhere around $120 trillion. The world's broad money supply. That's 1.2 trillion $100 bills, and how you arrange them splits into 2 completely different pictures. Stack them flat, one on top of another, and the column climbs about 131,000 kilometers, a third of the way to the moon. But lay those same bills end to end, tip to tip in a single line, and that ribbon of paper stretches roughly 187 million kilometers. Enough to wrap around the Earth's equator more than 4,600 times. And split perfectly evenly, that's about $15,000 for every single person alive. Except it was never split evenly. The typical adult holds closer to 8,000, while a tiny sliver at the top holds almost half of everything. But even that 120 trillion isn't the end of it. Count everything people own. Every house, every share of stock, every business on Earth. And the number reaches about $471 trillion. That's from the UBS Global Wealth Report. Stack that flat and the tower would sail clean past the moon, about 514,000 kilometers, a third of the way out the other side. A column of paper, one bill thick, reaching another world and overshooting it. But now we reach the part almost nobody stops to think about. You can never actually build that stack. And not because it's too tall, because the money isn't there to stack. Of all the money in the world, the physical kind, the bills and coins you could really pile up, is less than a tenth of the total, less than 10%. The rest has no paper, no metal, no physical form of any kind. It is numbers, just numbers, sitting inside computers, in databases owned by banks. The $120 trillion the planet runs on mostly does not exist as anything you could ever hold. It exists as agreement. And that leads somewhere genuinely unsettling. The number in your banking app right now, your money, is not waiting for you in a vault. The bank does not have it in a drawer with your name on it. It lent most of it out the moment you deposited it. What you actually own is a promise that if you ask, they'll hand it over. And almost always that's fine. But here's the disturbing part. If everyone walked into their bank tomorrow and asked for their balance in cash, the money would not be there. It could not be. There isn't enough physical currency on the entire planet to cover even a tenth of what we all believe we have. The cash does not exist. We have simply, quietly agreed never to ask for it all at once. And the last time enough people did ask at once, banks did not slow down. They collapsed. And it wasn't always like this. For most of history, the money in your hand was a claim on something solid, a paper note you could carry into a bank and trade for real gold pulled out of the ground. The paper was only a promise, standing in for treasure you could actually hold. Then, a little over 50 years ago, we cut that rope. The link to gold was severed completely. Today, the dollar isn't backed by metal or by anything you can touch at all. It's backed by trust, nothing else. We quietly turned money into pure belief, and almost nobody noticed the moment it happened. It gets stranger still, because most of that digital money was never printed, never minted, never made out of anything. In 2014, the Bank of England, the central bank of the United Kingdom, spelled this out in a paper called Money Creation in the Modern Economy. When a bank gives out a loan, it doesn't hand over a pile of someone else's savings. It simply types a new number into the borrower's account. That's it. The money is created in that moment, out of nothing, as a fresh line in a database. According to the Bank of England, that is where most of the money in the modern world actually comes from. Not dug up, not earned out of the ground, just written down and believed. So think about what money really is. Gold is rare because the universe made almost none of it. Money is the exact opposite. It can be made from nothing, typed onto a screen, conjured by a keystroke. The thing we work for, fight for, lie for, lose sleep over, and build entire lives around is, for the most part, not a substance at all. It's a story, a shared story that 8 billion strangers have all quietly agreed to believe at the very same time. And that story is strong enough to hold up the entire world. So picture that stack one last time. A tower of bills climbing past the moon. For a thing that is mostly not even real in the way you thought it was. You earn it. You save it. You trust it. The money in your pocket is honest paper. But the money on your screen, the balance you check, the savings your whole future is resting on, none of it is sitting anywhere. It's a promise, written in numbers, backed by nothing but the fact that all of us keep believing it. You are not holding money, you are holding a story, and it only works for as long as not one of us stops believing it. Most of us never once notice we're believing anything at all.